meet in a depressed economy. UK aid has already made a difference in these countries. But some of you, who've responded to a particular kind of appeal, have been disturbed to find out what's really happening to your charitable donations. Watchdog's been investigating a number of organisations operating up and down the country. They're regularly putting leaflets through your door asking you to donate clothing and linen to the needy of Eastern Europe. A leaflet was delivered to Gail Glazer's home by an organisation called Lugira.
When I first saw the leaflet, I presumed that it was a charity that was collecting the clothes and household things and whatever we were giving, and that everything would be going to Eastern Europe. I donated to Lugira twice. The first time I put things out, I think I had about three bags or so, but I put some extra things in, some sweeties and crayons and a colouring book in, because I just sort of thought I hope there was a kid out there that would get something nice.
Gail's neighbour, Pamela Reeves, also donated to Lugira.
My mother died, and so I was left with all Mum's clothes, and then this leaflet was through the door, and I thought, oh lovely, a charity that I know when Mum was alive she wouldn't mind good things going to. So I put everything in, and I found empty in her wardrobe a brand new Savile Row suit, which I didn't know she had, new cardigans from Marks and Spencer's, brand new shoes she'd never worn, all sorts of things.
Our nationwide inquiries have revealed that Lugira are far from alone. Their leaflets...
Can you spare your old unwanted clothes for the people of Eastern Europe?
...are strikingly similar to those distributed by another organisation called Solaria.
Can you spare your old unwanted clothes for the people of Eastern Europe?
And what about this strangely familiar wording, which has been dropping onto people's doormats courtesy of Gotham?
Can you spare your old unwanted clothes for the people of...
There seems to be a lot of concern for the people of Eastern Europe, because then we heard about Translimit.
Can you spare your old, unwanted clothes for the people of Eastern Europe?
And Britex, who've decided to put things into their own words and remind us that sharing invites joy into two hearts, so we too can help the needy people in Eastern Europe. But Gail Glazer became suspicious the second time Lugira came round collecting, and she tried to talk to one of the collectors.
Charity people are normally really happy to talk about what they're doing, and I still thought it would be quite nice to have a contact number. But instead, that didn't happen. They really didn't want to sort of speak to me. And it was then that I just kind of really did think it was a bit strange.
So we rented houses across the country and waited for two of the companies, Solaria and Britex, to come and collect some clothes from us. What we wanted to know was where the clothes were going, but what they didn't know was that we were secretly filming. Even so, they weren't very keen to talk. The man from Solaria kept backing away from our researcher.
Can you tell me where the clothes are going? Are they going to a charity in which country?
In Belarus.
Which charity is it? Can I tell?
Solaria.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Go on.
The man from Britex was a little more forthcoming.
You must be tired. And which charity is it?
Britex.
Britex is charity?
Yeah, charity.
It's a charity company. Oh, I thought you collected them for another charity. Britex is the charity, okay. And did it go to the children?
Yeah, children, poor families.
Well, we discovered that despite what the men collecting told us, Solaria Limited and Britex Limited are not registered charities, nor for that matter are Lugira Limited, Translimit Limited or Gotham. They're all in fact commercial companies making money out of your donations. The Charity Commission is responsible for regulating charities in the UK, and their investigations team caught up with Lugira in the summer. The company admitted they were selling the clothes for profit to a company out in Lithuania.
When I first found out that Lugira weren't a registered charity, that whoever was collecting the things was actually making money out of it, I was quite concerned, and I think that's totally wrong. I think it's really shabby.
I really wished I'd stuck to my mother's wishes and giving them to the cancer research. When I found out it was not a real charity and I was wondering what might happen to her things, for about 3 nights I just couldn't sleep. I used to wake up and think that I'd really betrayed Mum in a way, and I was most upset. It was heartbreaking.
We have tried to track down the directors of all these companies to find out exactly what they've been up to, but they've been rather elusive. To be fair though, Gotham have printed a company registration number at the bottom of their leaflet. Slight problem, it's not their company registration number. These are the letters we sent to the only known address for Solaria, but the people who live there say that Solaria moved away 6 months ago, so they gave us back our letters. And according to his company records, this is the home of Mr. Zilvanus Bareikis, director of Britex Limited. It's a Lithuanian Roman Catholic church. Priest says that Mr. Bareikis did used to be a member of the congregation here, but that he hasn't attended church for several months. Maybe he's been too busy collecting for the needy. At the registered office of TransLimit, this man and his family have no clue who the company are or why they keep getting their post. Then, as we arrived at the address for Lugira, we saw 2 men coming out of the house and getting into this van. They said they didn't know of Lugira's director, Guntas Kuliesis. Are you sure? From this particular company? No, Lugira? No. Lugira? No. But you came out of that house? I don't know. You came out of that house? None of the companies will respond to our questions, but we checked out their claims to distribute donations in charity shops in Lithuania and the Ukraine. According to the embassies, there are no charity shops in these countries. Instead, we believe many of these companies are selling their clothes for around £2,000 a lorry load to an organisation masterminding the operation in Lithuania. The same organisation that's handing out template leaflets for the companies to use. The clothes may indeed be making it to Eastern Europe, but anyone wearing them will be paying for them. So charity does begin at home, it just doesn't end up abroad.
Now, whatever you do, don't let that cautionary tale stop you giving to charities. What you have to do is ensure you are dealing with a charity, and that's simply done by establishing the organisation has on its literature a registered charity number, another thing altogether from a business number. Details are on our website with a link through to the Charity Commission, with whom all charities must be registered.
Now, for the better part of 20 years, British car owners have complained about the prices charged by British car dealers, around £2,500 more on average than their continental counterparts, and made accusations that car makers were protecting those higher-priced UK dealers. There's now European legislation to stop this kind of protectionism. 2 years ago, Virgin Cars joined the online buyers market. Virgin said they'd bring in cars from Europe with big savings at the click of a mouse. Well, as Paul Heine reports, it was time for Richard Branson to pull on another promotional pullover and pop the champagne corks.
Launched in 2000 amidst an explosion of publicity, Branson promised that Virgin Cars would revolutionise the car industry. Bringing cars direct from Europe to customers, cutting out dealerships, making car buying cheaper and easier. The promises came thick and fast from Virgin, and people thought that buying a car from them would be just as speedy. In theory, it couldn't be easier. Just log on to the website, select a new car, and confirm the sale. Their website claims that buying a car this way is more fun than naked volleyball. But that's not the case for some viewers. Watchdog has received complaints from dozens of Virgin car customers. They claim they've been waiting too long for their cars. In some cases, they claim to have been waiting up to 10 months for their car. Nicola Kevin has only just taken delivery of the Peugeot 206 she ordered back in March this year.
I chose Virgin Cars because I thought Virgin was a sign of quality. It was a brand that I knew and that I trusted. That wasn't the case. The estimated delivery time was 18 weeks, but to extend that to 32 weeks is very unacceptable. kind of excuses I was given from Virgin Cars for the car not being here in the estimated lead time was delays in production, estimated delays out of their control. I felt that Virgin Cars were very unhelpful in my whole situation, and throughout the whole 7 months I've been waiting for my car, I've been continually faced with barriers from them, with no answers, with lies, with excuses, and to be honest, I've been at the end of my tether with the whole situation.
Richard Bruce finally got his Volkswagen Golf in October, but he ordered it back in February this year.
When I originally dealt with Virgin Cars, it struck me as quite a slick operation. I was quite impressed before I made my order. Everything after I made my order made me think they were shambolic. If I'd known in advance that the car wasn't going to come until the middle of October, I would have taken a view as whether that was okay given the savings I was making. But they basically misled me repeatedly over the delivery date. It wasn't the fact that it took 9 months, it was the fact they kept saying it wasn't going to take 9 months, it was going to come next week, the week after, end of July, middle of August, middle of October, September. The date just kept changing. That's what frustrated me.
But at least, because Richard bought online from Virgin Cars, he was going to get the car of his choice, wasn't he?
2 weeks after I ordered it, I got a message saying that they couldn't give me the options I'd specified. I replied by email saying, why not? They didn't give me a satisfactory answer. They didn't tell me, however, that they put my order on hold when they couldn't supply the options I wanted.
But the rules of car buying are changing, like the price of beans. The price of motors is coming down all the time, and very soon, they say, buying a car will be as quick and as simple as pulling a bargain off a supermarket shelf. Since October, manufacturers have less control over where their cars are sold, thanks to the European Commission lifting something called the block exemption ruling of 1995. This gives us, the consumer, more choice of where to buy our cars, forcing more competition, resulting in cheaper car prices.
In terms of whether there's a future for importing a car on the web, the real issue is what's important to the consumer. For most consumers it's price, but it's increasingly becoming availability. And as car supermarkets grow, the question is whether or not importing does have a long-term future.
I think the market's changing completely. It's absolutely the case that many people still have an opportunity to look outside the UK. Prices have been coming down, and I think consumers now can see the best deals are right here in the UK.
Virgin claim that the car makers must accept some of the blame for the delays. They're the ones who want the cars sold through their dealers.
When I wrote to them, the letters basically said it's not our fault, don't blame us, but it was their fault they didn't reply to my emails. It was their fault they asked for money from me 3 months before my car actually arrived. That money was sitting in their bank account, not in mine.
The financial saving that I've made by purchasing my car online through Virgin Cars has not been worth the hassle, the upset and the disappointment that I've faced over the 7 months.
But Virgin Cars are responsible for some of these spectacular claims on their website. So, has it been more fun than naked volleyball?
Buying a car from Virgin Cars is not more fun than watching naked volleyball. I can categorically say that.
I wouldn't say that buying a car from Virgin Cars online is more fun than naked volleyball. No.
Ian Lancaster, Chief Executive of Virgin Cars, welcome to Watchdog. She said it, naked volleyball, buying a car from Virgin, no contest, Ian.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and we're certainly sorry that for those customers you showed on your film, they didn't have the experience that was as good as naked volleyball as we'd intended. I think the reality is that we don't make the cars, and we make all of our efforts, and significant efforts, to publish the right lead times on our website. We don't try and fool consumers into buying on false lead times, and sometimes, and not in many cases, the manufacturers don't deliver the cars to us, and they don't give us good information.
And you don't
Why
make
not?
the cars.
And we don't make the cars.
But you do make the promises.
We do make the promises, and we do try
more
and protect
advice than Claire Rayner. People feel they were just fobbed off again and again. More support than a push-up bra. More updates and news at 10. Not according to our viewers. That's maybe the problem, the extravagant promises, and it doesn't tally with reality.
Well, for the vast majority of our customers, and I accept in this instances we haven't delivered to those promises, but all of our customers get a weekly update on the status of their car, and if their car is more than 30 days late, we have a delivery promise where the customer can just walk away from the deal.
Some people are waiting as long as a pregnancy for their cars. 9 months, 10
Yeah.
months. Do you know, that's a long time, isn't it?
It is a long time, but some cars take that long to build. I mean, if you buy a high-end BMW or Mercedes, it can take 9 months, and it's 9 months whether you buy it from us or whether you buy it through the dealer.
Well, you acknowledge that you shouldn't be making these extravagant promises, and maybe there's another point to make here, because we know, and you make a fair point about certain problems with certain manufacturers, but when you set this up and you made all these bold claims, Ian, why didn't you foresee any of these problems?
To be fair, we've spent the last 2 years lobbying within the European Parliament to get the change in the legislation which you mentioned in your film, and we now have, from October the 1st, a very much fairer new UK car market. The cars that you order will arrive when you expect them to arrive. Lead time for a car ordered on the mainland of Europe versus the UK will be the same, and there will be enforcement from the European Parliament on that issue. That's very important. For the last 2 years we haven't had that, and you're right, we have had a fight. The car industry didn't welcome Virgin cars into this space.
So for those who are waiting and have waited and beg to differ with you about naked volleyball and think that is actually a lot more fun than buying a car from Virgin, what would you say to them briefly?
Well, I'd say we're sorry that you had to wait. But we are trying to change the industry here, and you're part of that. Unfortunately, your orders were caught. But we have done one important change to our model. We now have 500 cars in stock. So if you place an order today, if you pay us today, you'll have a gleaming new car on your drive in 7 days. And I think that is a difference to our operation now.
Thanks for coming in.
Okay. Thank you.
Now picture this. A total stranger turns up at your door, tells you you've won £20,000. All he asks is you buy some chocolates from him to help with the prize money, say 20 quid's worth. You wouldn't give him the time of day, would you? You'd be straight on the phone to Crime Watch before he could say 1 box or 2, wouldn't you?
Well, you'd have thought so. But why is it then that such normal suspicion is suspended when the stranger makes the offer in a letter? Here's the stranger in question. His name is Werner Metz, and he's some number cruncher. He lives in Switzerland, where he's the accountant and administrator on the board of an extraordinary 110 companies. This one's called Sweet and Tasty, more like cheap and nasty. Millions of us here in Britain have been told by Sweet and Tasty that we've won up to £20,000. Should we scoff their chocolates or just scoff? Kate's been all stations from Darlington to Freiburg to find out.
They say life is a box of chocolates. Well, there's one company in Switzerland that's banking on most of us having a soft centre. And they're using the sweet smell of money to get you interested in buying their chocolates. And the company doing this is called Sweet and Tasty.
In February, Harry Day from Darlington was positive he'd just got richer when he received a letter from Sweet and Tasty.
Came out of the blue, really. I mean, I saw the mail come through the door. Confirmation that I've actually won £20,000. Yes! Oh, no, this is a joke. So I read it, and I reread it, and I read it again. Couldn't find any fault on it. No, it definitely confirmed I had won the £20,000. This was a dream come true for me.
Harry got so carried away, he put money down on a new car. He also booked a holiday to Egypt, where he served during the 50s. Bought a camcorder, a microwave, and put a deposit down on the caravan. Harry was also invited to buy some chocolates, so he sent off his order, together with the paperwork to claim his cash prize. But then Harry's sweet dreams turned sour. He got the chocks, but no sign of the dosh. So the things Harry paid for, with the prize money, disappeared in a flash.
I lost my car, lost my caravan, lost my holiday to Egypt. Ruined my life. Absolutely ruined. I didn't dare stop ordering in case I lost the £20,000. And right up to date, I still keep getting confirmations through for the £20,000 I've won, but I never get it.
Unfortunately, many other watchdog viewers like Harry thought they'd won as well, only to discover the bitter taste of disappointment.
Like Sue Cox from Camberley.
The sensible part of me thought that, of course, you're not going to get £20,000, and nobody gets something for nothing. But the other part of me just thought, well, what if? Yes! What they sent through with their letter was a catalogue full of chocolates and biscuits and sweets and drinks. And I ordered from them some chocolate and some cappuccino, purely because I thought it would give me a better chance of receiving this cheque if I placed an order with them. I didn't think that they would send it out to someone who didn't order from them. We desperately wanted to change our car, and all of a sudden pictures of a new car started appearing in my head. We've got debts that we thought I could see zero balances on my credit card statements instead of what usually comes through every month.
After replying to the mail shot, Sue got the sweeties 10 days later, but no sign of the cash. She tried phoning, then she wrote. No reply. In the end, she just gave up.
I was just really, really angry that people can be allowed to get away with sending this sort of stuff through the post and building people's hopes up and dreams, and they're just playing with people's lives, really, and they just should not be allowed to get away with it.
Hertfordshire Trading Standards are looking into the Sweet and Tasty mail shot.
On first reading this letter, it looks like someone has won £20,000. In reality, they've been allocated a number, one of possibly many millions it might be, that's been entered into a draw. But the wording is very clever to make it appear that that number has won £20,000, i.e. your number. We've had an excessive number of complaints for a company of this size over the past year.
How difficult is it to police this kind of marketing?
In this case, if a company were UK based and we thought it was a scam, I think there's something we could do about it. Because the company are based in Switzerland, they're outside of UK jurisdiction, and we have to have central government departments trying to liaise with enforcement bodies in different countries.
Sweet and Tasty is the marketing name for the Swiss company GMS Trading. Last December, the Advertising Standards Authority found them guilty of misleading advertising and have told them to clean up their act. Now, one man who's used to the sweet taste of success is this man, Werner Metz. He runs the Swiss arm of GMS Trading, and he's used to giving people good news. So we're here in Fribourg in Switzerland to tell him he's a winner.
Je m'excuse aussi, mais on est ici de la BBC à la recherche de Monsieur Metz.
Bonjour.
Ah, c'est Monsieur Metz, bonjour.
Hello, pleased to meet you. We'd like to ask you a couple of questions. You're okay in English, sir? My name is Kate. Pleased to meet you. BBC Watchdog.
That's okay.
People are receiving this kind of thing who are led to believe that they've won £20,000. And Mr. Day spent hundreds of pounds thinking he'd won. You've got nothing to say to him?
No.
Why not?
I'm not allowed to.
Why are you not allowed to?
It's a company, business, privacy, policy.
This makes people think that they've won money, and they clearly haven't, because they're not getting it. Look at this. Awaiting response. The official results are released in the final. This person wins our 100% guaranteed cash prize. Have you got prize winners?
Please do not insist to ask me questions like this.
No?
No.
We've got a official confirmation for you, Mr. Metz.
Mm-hmm.
With this signature, we hereby confirm that you, Werner Metz, are to receive a free interview with Nicky Campbell, and you'd be very welcome to express your views on our programme, having carefully confirmed that you are the bloke we're after. As you say yourself in your own literature, you know, miss this, and you might regret this for the rest of your life.
Oh, didn't take up our free offer then.
Nope.
I'll tell you one thing, it's better with figures than he is with answers.
Well, his figures didn't add up really either. If you get any sweet and tasty junk mail, if I were you, I'd rip it up and stick it in the bin.
Have you quite finished ripping that up? Last week we ripped open 100 Walker's crisp packets in search of winning banknotes, but only found vouchers for 3 more packets of crisps. Walker's wouldn't tell us the real chances of winning either a £5 or a £20 note. So we asked you, and more than 100 of you had fished out a £5, and a couple had even tweaked a 20. Strangely, cheese and onion seemed to be about the best bet, but that info is not much use to you since the promotion is now over.
Remember, you can visit our website at www.bbc.co.uk/watchdog.
Right, Watchdog results. After their wedding, Emma Williams and her husband Alan had planned a honeymoon in Thailand, but they had to cancel because of an outbreak of dengue fever. But having caught this once before, Emma's doctor said it could be lethal if caught again.
So they cancelled and went elsewhere, but Boots Travel Insurance said her fear of going to the original destination wasn't enough to justify a claim. We got in touch with Boots. They say they've now agreed Emma's full £1,300 claim, plus a £25 Boots voucher to boot.
And Sarah Godfrey ordered Sky as a birthday present for her boyfriend in March. After months of waiting, she finally got an installation date, New Year's Day next year. She complained and asked for a new date.
And they came up with one. New Year's Day, 2004. Sarah got so fed up, she paid an independent company to install the dish. Sky blame a systems error. They say they're sorry and will refund the costs.
We'll be back next Wednesday, installing another edition of Watchdog at 7. Till then, from all of us here, good night.
Great Missenden, beautiful place, but nowhere as great as Winston Churchill.